Great to have Aaron Goldsmith on the show with us today, the voice of the Mariners. And Aaron, we know the longer-time voice of the Mariners, Rick Rizzs, a legend in this town, is going to hang it up after this season. We've had him on the program. He's had some great stories. What's it like working with Rick day in and day out over the last over a decade for you?
Yeah, Rick is definitely the voice of the Mariners. It's been really wild this year and strange being on the road and not having Rick there. Rick is always the first one to the ballpark. It doesn't matter if it's the Cactus League or the regular season. I don't think I've ever arrived at the ballpark before Rick. This is my 14th year calling Mariners baseball. I remember there was a time fairly early in my career where I had to be to the ballpark much earlier than normal because of an event that I was a part of long before the game in the early afternoon. And I thought I was getting there really early and for sure would beat Rick. And nope. There was Rick's car. He was already there. So yeah, Rick is an absolute legend. 41 years behind the microphone in Seattle. Has been here for, I mean, think about it, 50 seasons of Mariners baseball. Rick's been there for 41 of them. It's pretty amazing. And I'm so grateful and so happy that he'll be going into the Mariners Hall of Fame next season. He is a one-of-a-kind guy. And people wonder, I think, fairly often, is the same guy that we hear on the radio, like, is that the real Rick Rizzs? And you guys know as well as I do. Yes, that is absolutely him. One of his great gifts is he is the exact same person on the air as he is off the air. He is as kind and as optimistic and as genuine of a person as I've ever met, and it won't be the same without him around the ballpark.
Hey, Aaron, with taking his kindness and showing up to the park early away, what has he taught you, or what have you learned from him about broadcasting and calling a Mariners game?
You know, Rick never really seems like he needs a day. Every day is like the first day for him from the standpoint of his energy, his enthusiasm, his desire to get on the air, to put the headset on and get behind the microphone. I mean, it doesn't matter if the Mariners won by 10 or lost by 10, if they've won 10 straight or lost 10 straight. Rick tackles each day with the same enthusiasm as if it was his very first day in the big leagues, and that's how excited he is to show up and call a game. It's something I've never seen anybody else come close to replicate. He is truly one of one, Rick Rizzs.
Very cool.
Hey, Aaron, sometimes we have Brad Adam on the show, and we like to ask him, like, the things he does on off days in other cities, maybe stadiums he likes, cities he likes. How about you? When you go around the country with this baseball team, is there a favorite stadium you like to go to, maybe a favorite city?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all have our favorite towns and favorite ballparks. I can be a little bit biased, like a lot of broadcasters, because some of them I judge just solely on the broadcast booth. But Boston's one of my favorite cities to go to. I have my wife's family is from out in that area, so I always get to see them. And Fenway Park it's such a boring, oh my gosh, I feel bad saying it's like such a boring response for what your favorite ballpark is. But Fenway is my favorite place to call a game. Just the uniqueness. There's only one Fenway Park. It looks like no other ballpark. The booth is really fun because you're right over home plate. There's no perspective as on top of home plate. Like when I close my eyes, I can still think about one of my first games I ever called there and looking down on David Ortiz. I felt like I can still see the black of the plate, and I'm right above Big Papi. When you see a home run hit over the monster in person, it's a completely different experience than when you see it hit over the monster on TV. It really is a one-of-a-kind baseball experience. In fact, this next road trip for the Mariners are two of my favorite places, Boston and Toronto. Toronto's a wonderful city. And Rogers Center, when the roof's closed, it does have a airplane hangar vibe to it, unfortunately. But if you get a day game in the summer with the roof open at Rogers Center and the CN Tower is beyond the foul pole in right field and the sun is coming in and it's a big ballpark, it's really a great spot. So I'm looking forward to the next road trip for a lot of reasons, but two of my favorite ballparks, especially in the summertime.
They ever in Toronto let you call a game from one of the hotel rooms in the outfield out there?
I've always wondered what that must be like to be checking into your room and checking out a ball game. I remember last year when I was doing radio for the M's in the playoffs, and we were there in Toronto, of course. I was only calling 2 innings. I was prepped and I was ready to go, and we had like an hour before even the pregame show started. And so I just went down to the concourse and I walked the concourse like 3 times just to kind of get a vibe and a feel of the whole thing. And it was just, man, it was so great just to feel like Game 7 energy and walking around and just feeling the vibe and the buzz of everything. It's a pretty cool spot. I know it's a long way from Seattle, but if you're watching now and you look at the calendar in years to come, and the Mariners are there in the summertime, it's a good spot to check out.